Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're customizing the Ubermacht Cypher in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, I've actually customized this car before, but I decided today I wanted to get another one of these because I'm probably going to sell my old one because I don't even know where it is, so I'll have to find it. Anyway, we're going to start off with the armor all the way up, of course, on that. The brakes as well for sure. Bumpers, we do have quite a few good options for this vehicle. I remember it's definitely one of the more customizable ones, especially they came out with the contract DLC. So we're gonna go for the carbon wedged splitter on this thing. Carbon is gonna be a pretty heavy theme on this vehicle, I can tell you that right now. For the rear bumper, we are going to go for the carbon GT bumper. For the chassis, we have arch covers that we can add onto this thing. They don't look that great in my opinion though, so I'm actually just going to leave them off of the car. For the rear diffuser, we can add more things to it. We're probably going to go for something carbon, I'm not sure what yet. Carbon diffuser fins, oh I see those are over on the sides. We're just gonna go for the carbon diffuser because I don't really know what else to go for, so we'll just do that. Now for the engine block, we do have quite a few nice little options in here. I like the red, so that is an option there. Exposed red covers, those are nice too. I think we're gonna go for the exposed red covers. That is a light $60,000 option, so we'll go for that. Engine all the way up, of course. We can also put a strut brace on this thing. I'm not exactly sure which one I want to go for, or if I even really want one. I think we'll go for the carbon strut brace just to match with the whole carbon theme of the car. For the exhaust, we have a lot of options here actually. I kind of like the Infinity exhaust. We're gonna go for that one. And for the grille, we can add a carbon grille to this thing, a slatted grille, a carbon slatted grille, mesh grille as well, carbon. There really are a lot of options for this car. I think we're gonna go for something kind of basic, which is the carbon grille. I think it looks really good though, so we'll go for that. We can of course tint the headlight glass, but we're not going to because I really just don't think it looks that great, so we're just going to avoid it. Next up for the hood, we have quite a few options here. I'm not sure which one of these we're going to go for yet. Obviously, we're going to look through all of them and just see which one we like the most. And I think the one I like the most is either the performance hood here or the ridged hood. I think that the ridged hood actually looks better, so I'm going to go for that one. Next up for the interior, there are quite a few things that we can do to this vehicle. I actually personally really like the stock steering wheel, so I'm going to keep that. For the dash, we can add the carbon dash, which I'm going to do just because it looks a little bit nicer. We can add racing dials as well, so we'll do that. For the doors, we can change them up quite a bit. I like the stock doors though, so I'm just going to leave those alone. We can go for street interior, of course, or the race interior. We're not going to change that. I like it the best just the way it is. Now for the seats, we can change these up quite a bit. The carbon racing seats do look pretty good. The painted sports seats. All of these options are pretty nice, but I do actually really like the stock seats, so I think we're actually going to stick with those. Now for the roll cage, we can of course add one. I'm not a super huge fan of these though, so I'm just not going to have one in this car. Next up for the headlights, we are going to go xenon on those, of course. For the livery, we do have some options for this vehicle, so we'll quickly go through all of them just to show you guys, but I honestly don't think that we're actually going to put one on. Now they were pretty cool looking, but they're just not for me, especially not on this build right now, so we're going to leave them alone. Carbon mirrors, we are going to add those onto the car for sure. Yellow on black for the plate, of course. Next up for the color of this vehicle. Now, I've previously done this thing in like a very BMW looking blue, and I kind of want to shy away from that. I want to go for something a little bit different today. Something that's maybe a little bit more understated. I don't know, something a little less obvious, should I say? I don't know. Now, I was thinking about going for a cream with this car, but we've already done the Nissan GTR that we did a little bit earlier in the week in cream. And honestly, it just doesn't look that great on this thing, so I think I'm going to leave it off. What I'm actually considering going for, though, is like a dark steel. I do really like this color. I'll be honest, it just caught my eye as I'm doing the customization here. So I think we're going to go for dark steel for the primary and for the secondary. Next up for the trim color, we can of course change this around quite a bit, and I think we're going to go for a red interior. I always like a red interior. We're going to go for garnet red so it's not too bright. And for the accent color, this does the gauges if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it does. So for those, we will go for, let's go for an ultra blue. So far the car looks pretty good, I have to say. I'm pretty happy with it. For the roof of the vehicle, we are going to go ahead and turn the vortex generator that's on this thing into a carbon vortex generator. And for the actual roof, we are of course going to make it carbon. I think that we're going to go for the carbon inset roof or the carbon bevel roof. I think that the inset looks a little better, so we're going to go for that one. Next up, for the skirts, we can of course extend these a little bit. We're going to go for something carbon, and the best looking one in my opinion is just the regular carbon extended skirt, so we're going to put that on. Next up, for the spoiler, we can add a ducktail to this thing, a primary ducktail, carbon ducktail of course, a wedged ducktail down in the actual trunk lid. That's kind of cool. We've also got the super ducktail, primary super ducktail, and of course the carbon super. Then we've also got all the crazy looking wings on this thing as well. I think that we're probably going to go for the carbon wedged ducktail. Now the carbon super ducktail looks good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's a little too big, so we're just gonna go for this one. Now we do of course have some sun strips that we can add to this vehicle. I'm not a super huge fan of them though, so we're just going to leave them off. For the suspension of this vehicle, we can of course lower it down quite a bit, and we are in fact going to do that because I mean we just need to. Transmission all the way up, the turbo as well for sure. For the vents, we can of course change these into carbon vents, so we're going to do that to fit with the whole carbon theme of the vehicle. And next up we have the wheels of course. Now within the wheels, I think that I want to go for the cheetah carbon R's because these just look so damn clean and they look so good with this car, so we're going to go for those. Next up, for the wheel color, we are just going to go for a basic black today. I think it just looks the best. Bulletproof tires of course as well, and window tint. I am thinking about maybe going for light tint. Some people were complaining about me always putting limo tint on the car, but like at the same time, who wants a fishbowl, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going for limo tint, like whatever. Anyways, that is it for the customization. It's time to take this thing down to the ground. We're going to do a sound test and a review. Alright boys, it's time to listen up. Cypher sounds good. It's not like anything, you know, too crazy special, honestly, but it sounds good. You can't really knock the thing. I mean, it's good enough, you know? Now the Cypher, since the last time I've driven it, I do believe it was before the contract DLC came out, so I have not experienced the Cypher with the nerf that the contract DLC brought to the tuner's vehicles, so that is kind of unfortunate. Honestly, I don't remember what the Cypher was like before the nerf, to be completely honest, so I won't really be able to do much comparison between the cars from before the nerf and after the nerf. However, what I can tell you is that the Cypher does feel like a pretty well put together car. It feels solid. It's got nice enough brakes. It's got pretty good handling. I am noticing, I think, some understeer though, which is, you know, a little bit less than ideal. I could be wrong though. Maybe I just need to drive the car a little bit more, but I do kind of think that I am feeling some degree of understeer. But for the most part, honestly, the car seems pretty well balanced. Like it's actually not that bad. I don't think that it is actually understeer. I think that the car is just very, very planted. And I think it's just handling well throughout the turn, and it's going exactly where it should go actually. So that's good. Now, as far as the acceleration goes, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit weaker than I remember, I think. The Cypher, not that it was ever a super fast car, but because it wasn't the fastest to begin with, after the nerf came out, I feel like this thing is a pretty average speed, I gotta say. However, it's not exactly meant to be the fastest car ever. It's based pretty heavily off of a BMW M2, which is one of the better M cars I've heard in the recent years. I think that Rockstar's actually captured the BMW M2 really, really well in GTA. This thing feels solid. It feels how I would imagine an M2 would feel in real life, so I can't really complain too much. I mean, it's not the fastest car ever, but it does handle pretty nicely, looks great, sounds pretty good as well. Overall, really nothing to complain about with the Ubermacht Cypher. This thing is pretty solid. Now, as far as the top speed goes, it is a little bit weaker than it used to be, but it's not that much worse, honestly. And it was never that high to begin with, so we're not really losing out on too much here. Overall, the Ubermacht Cypher is definitely a car that I would say go ahead and pick this thing up if you guys have been looking at getting one for some time. It's definitely a really fun car to drive. It handles really nicely. That is my one standout feature that I am noticing with the Cypher. This thing creates no drama. It doesn't oversteer, it doesn't understeer. Overall, it's just a very well put together car, and I think that Rockstar actually did a super good job with the handling tuning of this vehicle. Anyway guys, that is pretty much it for the Ubermacht Cypher. customization and review. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.